We have just witnessed the instructions of the tabernacle, and now we'll gain more insight into the functionality of it. Exodus 28 and 1. From among the Israelites take your brother Aaron and his sons with him, that he may minister to me in the priest's office, even Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. What we have here is the priestly line. This is the beginning of it. We have Aaron and his sons, and this is going to go on for their generations. Exodus 28 and 2. And you shall make for Aaron your brother sacred garments, appointed official dress, set apart for special holy services, for honor and for beauty. I can only think of a few occasions so far in the Old Testament where clothing has been brought up. First would be in the Garden of Eden, after the consumption of the forbidden fruit, and they noticed they were naked, and they clothed themselves in leaves. Then God came by and saw what they were doing, and without the sacrifice of life, they would not be able to function in this world. So he made for them clothing of skins and furs, and that kind of covered them. And then we got this over here now. We have the idea that the priests need to be made ready to be in front, to interact with the Lord God. So specific clothes are going to be made for the occasion, a uniform per se, something that is different and separate and distinct from what would normally be worn about when they're out and around working with animals, working with the field. The dress then would be different than the dress that would be worn in the presence of God. So we have that separation, that distinction, that holy robe, that holy garment, something to clothe them in such a way so that they can be in the presence of God. Exodus 28 and 4. They shall make these garments, a breastplate, an ephod, a distinctive vestment to which the breastplate was to be attached, a robe, long and sleeved tunic, checker work, a turban, and a sash or band. They shall make sacred garments for Aaron your brother and his sons to minister to me in the priest's office. So here we have the generalized description of the outfit or uniform that the high priest is going to be wearing. Later on it's going to explain the details a little bit more in depth and the colors of everything and the craftsmanship and all that. So to begin off, we got ourselves a breastplate. Breastplate typically means a form of chest armor, some sort of protective armor worn on the upper body. In many of the depictions I've seen, they've had like a chest plate being almost like a literal plate that is worn on the chest. And we'll see later how that relates and where they come up with that. So we got this plate on the chest, but beneath that we have this ephod. And the ephod is almost like an apron. So it's going to go from the upper body all the way down, maybe about the knee level. It's a ceremonial outer garment apron. So that's what that is. Then we have the description here of a robe. So it's like a long robe, so from shoulders to feet, a full length robe. And then there is the tunic, and the tunic of checker work, and this is probably underneath the robe, and it's got full length sleeves, so it'll go all the way down to the wrists. Then there is a turban. I don't know if this is like a Eastern style turban, probably not, maybe more of a headcloth or a headband. And then we have a sash or a band, which is kind of like a belt, and that's going to be used to kind of gird up the loins and kind of keep everything in place. Exodus 28 and 5. They shall receive from the people and use gold and blue, purple, and scarlet stuff, and fine linen. 28 and 6. And they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, purple, and scarlet stuff, and fine twined linen, skillfully woven and worked. So now we have the color scheme for this garment. We have gold, the symbol of glory, divinity, and kingship. We have blue, the color of the heavens, the Holy Spirit, authority. Purple is the color of priesthood, royalty, and kingship. We have the scarlet color, which is red, the symbol for blood, atonement, and salvation. Exodus 28:7, it shall have 2 shoulder straps to join the 2 back and front edges, that it may be held together. So we got ourselves 2 straps, 2 shoulder straps that are going to hold everything together. They're going to hold up this ephod, and the ephod's got this breastplate on there. Pretty heavy stuff, so a good strap to kind of hold everything together. So it's almost like a form of like suspenders, right? Where it's kind of pulling everything up into place, holding the upper body in the correct position. And then we got the belt kind of cinching everything down below to kind of keep everything where it needs to be. For this is a very ornamental and well decked out set of clothing. Exodus 28:8, the skillfully woven girdling band, which is on the ephod, shall be made of the same, of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet stuff, and fine twined linen. We see the same color scheme used throughout, and this is probably a very well made apron, this ephod. Exodus 28:9, and you shall take 2 onyx or beryl stones, and engrave on them the names of the 12 sons of Israel. 28:10, 6 of their names on 1 stone, and the 6 names of the rest on the other stone, arranged in order of their birth. So the names of the tribes of Israel are going to be engraved on these stones. So onyx is either a black or a white stone. And there's also a possibility that it wasn't a regular onyx, it was a sardonyx, which can be made of layers that have different colors, brownish red color. So I don't know. There's symbology with those. We got let's say it was white. White would give us the bride of Christ, surrender, harvest, light, righteousness, and conquest. Whereas black gives us darkness, sin, earth, affliction, humiliation, calamity, death, and mourning. The other stone that was mentioned was beryl, and it looks like that can come in most shades of the rainbow. So it would be really hard to discern meaning from that. Exodus 28:11, with the work of a stone engraver, like the engravings of a signet, you shall engrave the 2 stones accordingly to the names of the sons of Israel. You shall have them set in sockets or rosettes of gold. Exodus 28:12, and you shall put the 2 stones upon the 2 shoulder straps of the ephod of the high priest, as a memorial stones for Israel, and Aaron shall bear their names upon his 2 shoulders as a memorial before the Lord. Should point out too that I don't know if the colors trump stones, like maybe there's different stone meaning as well. Anyway, so we have these stones and they need to be attached to the straps, and they can't be attached directly. So the stones are attached to gold, and then the gold is attached to the straps. It almost like when you get a ring and it's got a diamond on it, that the diamond sits in the set where the gold is kind of bent around it, holding the ring in place, or the stone in place on the ring. So in the same way, we have these stones that they're in gold things to hold them into place and to kind of pin them to these straps so they stay in place and don't fall off. Exodus 28:14, and 2 chains of pure gold, like cords, shall you twist them, and fasten the corded chains to the setting. Ah, yes, setting. That was the buzzword I was looking for. So the stone is in the setting, and then we have that connected to these pure gold chains that are twisted together like a spiral. Exodus 28 and 15. You shall make a breastplate of judgment in skilled work, like the workmanship of the ephod shall you make it, of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet stuff, and fine twined linen. 28 and 16. The breastplate shall be square and doubled. A span shall it be its length, and a span shall be its breadth. A span is about 9 inches or 22.86 centimeters. I guess that's 23 centimeters. Exodus 28 and 17. You shall set it in 4 rows of stones. A sardius, a topaz, and a charbuncle shall be the first row. 28:18. The second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. 28:19. The third row, a jacinth, an agate, and a amethyst. 28 and 20. And the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold filigree. Okay, I've spent several hours trying to figure out what color all these stones were and the ordering of them. And I've come to the conclusion that we really don't necessarily know. A lot of these stones, they come in multiple colors, and it makes it very hard to determine what color was used in the particular stone. Some of them are a little bit easier to figure out than others, but some are just like, well, it comes in 3 colors. It's probably this one. And then you have one artistic rendering that has it like that, and then another one that's the complete opposite. So it makes it really tricky to try to figure out what exactly is the color of each one of these stones. And then a lot of the other stuff that makes this kind of troubling, I haven't used the word troubling in a while, is that the names of some of these stones have changed over time, and their meanings have changed. And what was considered a diamond at one point in time is different than what we consider a diamond today. Consider this a towel thrown in surrender. Although the funny thing is that this could be a deliberate thing, in that the stones have certain particular meanings, and we got the colors with certain particular meanings. And this could be actually one of those like time-based things that at certain periods of time the stones would be associated with one color, and then as like time goes on, it might get associated with a different color, and the meaning would change with the different color, and maybe the tribe was acting in a different way. For these stones are all representations of the different tribes and the attributes of the individual tribes. So it could be something that at one point in time the tribe was like this, and then 200 years later they were like that, and then the meaning of that stone changed at the same time. And this could be some sort of multi-dimensional setup, and that could be quite interesting but also insane. But I wouldn't say that's an impossibility. Exodus 28 and 21. And the stones shall be 12 according to the names of the sons of Israel, like the engraving of a signet, each with its name for the 12 tribes. So the names of the 12 tribes are inscribed onto these stones. Exodus 28:22. You shall make for the breastplate chains of pure gold, twisted like cords. 28:23. You shall make on the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and put them on the 2 edges of the breastplate. 2 mounting positions for the chain to attach to, 2 holes into the breastplate, so that they'll have like these loops that these gold chains will be able to connect to. Exodus 28:24. And you shall put the 2 twisted cord-like chains of gold in the 2 rings which are on the edge of the breastplate. 28:25. The other 2 ends of the 2 twisted cord-like chains you shall fasten in the 2 sockets or rosettes in front putting them on the shoulder strap of the ephod. So this is how the breastplate is connected. It's connected to the shoulder straps and hangs down in front of the center of the chest. Exodus 28 and 26. And make 2 rings of gold, and put them at the 2 ends of the breastplate on the inside edge next to the ephod. 28 and 27. 2 gold rings you shall make, and attach them to the lower part of the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod in front, close by which they join, above the skillfully woven girdle or band of the ephod. 28. And they shall bind the breastplate by its rings to the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it may be above the skillfully woven girdle binding of the ephod, and that the breastplate may not become loose from the ephod. So the breastplate is very securely attached. It's not going to move around. The priest is not going to lean forward and have the whole thing dangle down in front of him. It is very attached and affixed to prevent wardrobe malfunctions, to keep the breastplate in the proper location. Exodus 28 and 29. So Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart, when he goes into the holy place, to bring them into continual remembrance before the Lord. So because he is wearing the names of the 12 tribes on his body and his person, he is intimately connected to them. So when he goes and visits the Lord and communicates with the Lord and ministers to him, that he is essentially bringing elements of the entire, all the tribes of Israel. Exodus 28 and 30. In the breastplate of judgment you shall put the Urim and the Thummim, unspecified articles used when the high priest asked God for counsel of all of Israel. They shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goes in before the Lord, and Aaron shall bear the judgment, rights, judicial decisions of the Israelites upon his heart before the Lord continually. So we don't know exactly what the Urim and the Thummim are. I've heard theories that it's like a black ball and a white ball, that it's in the garment or whatever it is. They have a question for the Lord, a yes or no. And then they pick one of them out, and it's like, oh, well, that was a yes or that was a no. Maybe it's some sort of like, I don't want to use the word divination, but that's essentially what that is. But that might not be what it is at all. It's some sort of device or some sort of tool for the communicating with the Lord, and it's not really specified what exactly it is, because if it was specified, some people would make their own versions of them, and then they would start worshiping those and taking divination from that, and not trusting in the Lord, but trusting in some sort of trinket. Like when you think of those like 8 balls that you shake and they give answers, it would be like trusting your life in that rather than trusting in the Lord, which is something that probably happens quite a bit. Same with astrology and all that other fun stuff. Fun stuff as in very dangerous. Either way, the high priest here has a lot of responsibility, and there's a lot going on here, and we'll see more of the high priest as time goes by. Exodus 28 and 31. Make the robe to be worn beneath the ephod all of blue. Blue is our heaven, the Holy Spirit, and authority, color meaning. Exodus 28 and 32. There shall be a hole in the center of it, to slip over the head, with a binding of woven work around the hole, like the opening in a coat of mail or a garment, that it may not fray or tear. So we have this robe, he's going to put it on over his head, and it's going to have a bit of a collar on there so it doesn't just fray away. Sounds good. I mean, there's other styles of robes that you put on from the back to the front and then they kind of tie in the center, but that's not what we got here. We got our robe made of one piece, and there's probably some significance to that. You would almost call it a seamless robe. Exodus 28 and 33. And you shall make pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet stuff around about its skirt, with gold bells between them. 28:34. A gold bell and a pomegranate, a gold bell and a pomegranate round about on the skirt of the robe. So around the perimeter we have an alternating sequence of gold bells and pomegranates, almost like tassels or something on the bottom to go all the way around. Exodus 28:35. Aaron shall wear the robe when he ministers, and its sound shall be heard when he goes alone into the Holy of Holies before the Lord, and when he comes out, lest he die there. So he's got all these bells on the bottom half, or the bottom portion. So as he moves around, it's going to make noise. And when he goes in to see God in the Holy of Holies, which, as we recall from the tabernacle, was behind the curtain at the back to the location where the Ark of the Covenant is and the mercy seat. So if he's not wearing the uniform, he'll die. It is a mandatory uniform to wear when he goes there. Exodus 28 and 36. And you shall make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it, like the engraving of a signet, holy to the Lord. 28 and 37. You shall fasten it to the front of the turban with a blue cord. So on his headgear, there's going to be holy to the Lord written on the front in gold, on a gold plate, I should say, that is attached. Exodus 28 and 38. It shall be upon Aaron's forehead, that Aaron may take upon himself and bear any iniquity connected with the holy things, which the Israelites shall give and dictate. And it shall always be upon his forehead, that they may be accepted before the Lord in the priest person. This almost sounds like a form of insurance. He is the high priest. He is the one in charge. He's got to wear this to signal him as being the representative of the people. And if they are doing their business and doing holy things, and maybe they don't do everything quite right, that's going to fall on him, and he's going to take the responsibility for any of those missteps or things that are kind of messed up. He is responsible, he's in charge, and he's got to wear this thing. He has to wear the sigil. Exodus 28:39. And you shall weave the long and sleeve tunic of checker work, of fine linen or silk, and make a turban of fine linen or silk, and you shall make a girdle, the work of the embroiderer. So here we have the descriptions of the tunic, which would be the undershirt that he would wear, and made of linen, so probably white unless it's colored like everything else was. If it wasn't colored, it would be of a white, which would be a symbol of purity, and that would be worn underneath. Then we have the description of the turban being made of the kind of the same material, kind of a white turban. And then we have the girdle, which is like the belt, and this is going to be embroidered, so that'll be all nice and fancy. Exodus 28 and 40. For Aaron's sons you shall make long sleeved tunics and belts or sashes and caps, for glory and honor and beauty. 28 and 41. And you shall put them on Aaron your brother and his sons with him, and shall anoint them and ordain and sanctify them, set them apart for God, that they may serve me as priests. So Moses is preparing his brother and his brother's sons for this new priestly duty, and he is going to put this dress on them, or this clothing on them, and then he's going to anoint them and set them apart and make it so that they'll have the ability to do the task at hand. Exodus 28 and 42, you shall make for them white linen trunks to cover their naked flesh, reaching from their waist to their thighs. So this looks like some type of underwear, some sort of pure underwear for them, made of white linen. Exodus 28 and 43, and they shall be on Aaron and his sons when they go into the tent of meeting, or when they come near the altar to minister in the holy place, lest they bring iniquity upon themselves and die. It shall be a statute forever to Aaron and to his descendants after him. So these clothes are going to be mandatory for the ministry of God. He wants them to be in uniform and all cleaned up when they're ready to do their work. And if they don't do it properly, it's not going to end very well for them.